Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the First Class, Second Place podcast. I'm your host, Jason Enrique. With me today, my very special guest is Deme D. He is a hip-hop media content creator. Welcome to the show, Deme D. Appreciate it.
What's good, my God? Thank you for having me. You know,
Absolutely.
out in Jersey with it.
Absolutely. Thank you again for coming on. All right, so let me ask let me start off the interview with the question that I ask everybody that comes on in my show. Tell me the beginning of your New York story, meaning where were you born and raised, and what was your upbringing like?
I was born in Brooklyn, New York, raised in Brooklyn, and then moved to Queens. So I'm pretty much from Brooklyn and Queens. It was in the 80s, so you know what time it is right there. And the internet, you know, it's that grimy New York. But then again, you know, we still had that family love, that neighborhood love. And my pops was a DJ when he was younger. My mom was from Haiti, so she came from when she was younger. So I had that combined. It was Flatbush at first, and then we moved to like Jamaica and Hollis and stuff like that. So yeah, kind of had a bunch in New York when I was younger. This is from when I was like from 1 to 7 and all of that. So.
And what's great about that era that you grew up in and where you lived and where you were born, you were essentially right in the epicenter of the birth of hip hop, which is something that I know you're very passionate about. You're very passionate about the culture. It's immersed in you. You said that your father was a DJ.
Yes.
How long? I want to say that, you know. For me, I've always wanted to be in some kind of media, some form of way. Like at one point, I thought I wanted to be in movies, and the one movie that made me want to realize that is Die Hard 3. And then when I was like into music, I would say that it was DMX's album "It's Dark as Hell and Hell is Hot." So I guess the question that I want to ask you is that what form of media, song, artist, or whatever is it the one that stuck out to you that you discovered and you were like, you know what, this is what I want to do with my life?
Shout out to DMX too. I mean, not shout out to RIP to DMX.
Right.
Well, you know, I started out really wanting to do music, so I would say like, I would say like maybe like pretty much Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang kind of inspired me to really want to rap. You know, my pops used to rap too. He was a DJ and he rapped.
Right.
So he was an inspiration. I want to say Wu-Tang. I want to say like, I can't front like Boot Camp Clip.
Ooh, absolutely.
Shit like
Love
that.
me some Boot Camp Clip. But
it started around 95, like 94, 95 I started writing, but I was already hooked from like late 80s already. Mm-hmm. Like I said, my pops was playing music. His favorite rapper was Rakim and his man was really Big Daddy Kane though. That was his dude, so that became my dude. But he was in it from Run DMC, Grandmaster Cash and all of that.
Oh, absolutely.
Furious 5 and all that. But yeah, so I was already like a big fan of the music already. Like it was in the culture and even other music too, because rap wasn't even dominant like it is now back then. So
yeah, exactly. Obviously, hip hop is in your blood. It's you're immersed in it 100%, and so on and so forth. Now, is that to say that that's all you immerse yourself in? That's all you listen to, or do you have some other genres or concepts that you actually are a fan of as well? Kind of just keep an open head on it.
Yes, pretty much I was a music person growing up. I mean, hip-hop was always my favorite, but like I said, that's not what I grew up off. I grew up off, like pop music like everybody else, rock and roll, a lot of, I'm Caribbean, so, a lot of dance hall, a lot of soca, a lot of shit like that. Haitians, we listen to compa. So, that's what I kind of grew up with, and then the rap came, but in R&B too, my family listened to late R&B, so like I'm a music kid, Michael Jackson, shit like that. But as of late, like the last couple of years, I pretty much more so listen to like hip hop music and rap. But most of my life, and everybody know me for dancing too. So when I get the spot, I get it in. Like,
All right, well, I'll take your word for it, and like maybe I'll see that some other time. But I'm not gonna ask you to do this on the show right now.
No busting no moves.
No, but I like the fact that you keep it an open mind, man, because I feel like hip hop is so much embedded into your DNA that it even spills over into your work. I mean, that's what you do. You're a content creator. But I sometimes feel like if you're too immersed into it, then how is it that you could give yourself a break? Because one of the things that I know know about you and your research, and one of the things that I appreciate that you said is that, we live in a time now where everybody wants to be an entrepreneur and everybody wants to make it big and make their mark in the world and so on and so forth.
Right.
So they have that mentality where I'll sleep when I'm dead type of thing. But I actually appreciate the fact that you think that rest is very vital because we need it. We're not infallible. We're not anything, like we're not God or anything like that. It's very important because like how is it that we're going to get our mind right? So I like the fact that you're not trying to go in that, you're staying humble in the sense like, what needs to be done and it needs to be done the proper way, as opposed to just having that mentality where like it could lead to self-destruction, so to speak.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I really do. Yeah, because I'm definitely an advocate for working hard, grinding and pushing it to the max. But, you got to work smart as well. And you got to be strategic and just understand it's not going to all happen in one swoop.
Right.
So, I definitely come to understand that and just come to appreciate the steps and just learn how to not exhaust myself while still, maxing out. You do got to max out. You know what I mean? So. And
I think it's very important, especially what you do, because, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know this dude not only has his own YouTube channel, the Go Getter TV. That's what we're going to plug it. But he has not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but 6 fucking shows, all in that channel. I mean, so this guy is a grinder. He works hard. He like everything. Like you really are immersed in this full throttle.
Yes. I don't like to play around, man. I take shit serious. That's why I call myself the Go-Getter. It's not a slogan. It's not to be cute. It's not to sound nice. That's how I try to move with things, and I respect myself. If I'm saying this is what I'm gonna do, then I'm gonna take it serious and just give it everything I got. It's not easy to do that and be consistent with that, but I definitely, give it that push to maintain that mindset.
Right. Now, do you also feel like in the era of hip hop that you grew up in specifically, do you think that is part of the reason or a big reason why you come across as a great media personality? Because I'm kind of the mindset that some young dude in this era of hip hop culture that we're living in right now, I don't think they'll be as compelled to be like, they'll be an ambassador, or dare I say, become some sort of a controversial figure because it's all about clicks, it's all about numbers, and so on and so forth. So I figured that you coming from the school that you do and being able to be on that cusp of like back then and now has actually shaped you into the media personality that you are now.
Yeah, again, I appreciate that. And I can say yes and no a little bit. I would say yes, it's the time is there, right? The time plays a part. But I'm gonna have to attribute my pops as well, because like I said, my pops was in it heavy. Like not playing, like he was in it heavy. So seeing that already, and he was into it heavy, not for the clicks. What we call clicks now, whatever it was referred to back then, he wasn't in it for that either.
Right.
So it wasn't about shine. He was in it for the technique, for the style, for the swag, for the culture. So that already, because there's people my age that don't listen to like artifacts and organized noise and
right.
You know what I'm saying, King T. They not listening. It might be a single. So the time is there. It just allows me to absorb at real time. So I was able to like talk to older dudes and still like, they be like, oh, what you know about that little nigga? I'm like, yeah, I do know. But so that time, that makes a big difference. But yeah, nobody really cares like that. So I really do care. So I'm glad you do notice that, because one of my friends said I give rap nerd interviews, because he's like, yo, it ain't.
I like that.
Yeah, he like, yo, but I'm like, yeah, man, I'm there to really know the story. It's not like we can't, have a live joke, swag out, because the culture is about swag as well. It's about events as well. But yeah, it's not. I ain't trying to do no click shit, yo.
Yeah. Is your father still around?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I just was with him this weekend. Shout out to Pop Duke's amazing GAD. We was just chilling. We went to the bar and watched the Giants get their ass kicked right out here. Matter of fact, right down the block. Patterson and Johnson.
Patterson, New Jersey.
Yeah,
okay.
No, right down the block. Patterson and Johnson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I actually want to go back, and the reason I asked that is because unfortunately, my father is no longer with us. He passed away about 5 years ago. I appreciate that. But the reason I kind of bring that up is because I love the fact that not only do you have a great relationship with him, but it seems like he's very supportive in your endeavors and so on and so forth, which kind of brings me to my next question. It seems like now, like everybody that has their platform, whether it's they do music or they do a podcast or they try to be like an influencer on social media, whatever the case may be. One thing that I've learned ever since I started this podcast endeavor is that the biggest support system that I've had are from people that I had no idea, I didn't even know existed, or people that I haven't even met on a first name basis, or I just meet, from a phone screen or something like that. Whereas you would think that the people that were closest to you, such as family and friends, will be the ones that would be there 100% behind you. But that's not. We learned that that's not always the case. I mean, it's certainly not the case with me. Like I can tell you right now, I love my mother very dearly, but I'm pretty sure that out of the 70 episodes that I've had, she's only maybe listened to one or two, and there always comes that constructive criticism like, oh, you look really good on TV. I just wish you didn't curse so much, but they always got something to say,
right?
And that's no disrespect to mom, still loves mom, but the point that I'm reaching at is that you find out that the biggest support system that you have are the ones that you didn't even really know at face value on a first name basis. Is that something that you've come across in your journey as far as being a content creator with the Go Get It TV?
Yes, absolutely. The thing is, I was already familiar with that because, I had the previous journey already with trying to be an artist, so I already know how it really goes. So, yeah, I already don't even, it's already on file. I've said this many times on many other interviews. That's the last thing to even think about. That's your first downfall if you're really banking on that. But, yeah, the people you don't know, the people you don't see, as far as like in person, maybe those are the ones who definitely at least gravitate when they see you doing something consistently with some type of quality and with some type of dignity.
Yeah.
And people say that a lot though. They say the people that they too close to you to see you as
right.
Yeah, so.
Well, like I mentioned before, like I used to do music back in the day, and I think a part of the reason why people had that those preconceived notions in the beginning is because they see that it didn't work out with us artist-wise, and then afterwards they have a little bit of trepidation when we veer off into something else. Now I'm starting to see from my peers and also to some degree my own family and friends that, okay, maybe they're not watching or listening to my shows, but they're damn sure seeing what I'm doing. I'm definitely doing my damn thing based on what they see on social media.
Yes, they see the surface stuff.
Yes.
But I have to say, it's not about you transitioning, because regardless of if you're trying to be a baker, if you want to sell water, if you want to be an artist, people always have this doubt when they know you, and it's just the same. That's why you see, not to veer off, but quickly, that's why when you see when people make it and they have those friends that they shout out, because those are the friends who's like, yeah, you can, yeah, you are nice enough, yeah. So they keep them in mind. So, but yeah, usually it doesn't matter what you do. A lot of the times people just feel like, nah, I don't feel like you should be able to do that. I don't like it.
Yeah. You talked about how you already expected that, but what were some of the other trials and tribulations that you had to go through in order to Go Get a TV off the ground?
Well, I'm still going through it now. I just had a shitty. I'm not gonna. But I just had a lot of trial. It's always something. I'm not the tech guy. I don't have a team, so it's like it's a lot of that background type of stuff. Booking people is very hard. Just keeping everything aligned and consistent is very tough. So I'm trying to organize shit I'm used to too, but all the technical shit, dealing with a lot of people's different attitudes. That's definitely a tough part of it.
Yeah, but I feel like knowing you for the little bit that I got to know you for a little bit, I get the sense already that you wouldn't go through all of that shit if you didn't have a passion for it. I mean, this is clearly something that you love, and if you didn't really care for it, then you would have been like, I'll just call it a day and just go clock a 9 to 5 or some shit.
That's facts, because a lot of people say a lot of things, and I'm like, you don't see a lot of the L's I take. A lot of times I still got to stick it out.
But let me tell you something else, man. I definitely feel confident in your journey, and I'm gonna explain why. So when I first started this podcast, one of the things, I didn't start right away. I had the inception of it like right before the pandemic started, but I really didn't get it off the ground until 2021, and I'm gonna explain why.
Okay.
I felt like I needed to have everything in place. Like I needed to have the perfect equipment, the perfect studio. I had to have this and that. Like I was waiting for everything to fall into place, and then one thing led to another. I noticed that I'm really embarrassing myself because I'm telling people about all these things that I want to do, but I'm not putting the next foot in front of me. So even though I didn't feel comfortable how it was at the time, I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just going to work with what I have. My very first episode was recorded inside my closet because it was at least soundproof. And now, fast forward to now, I'm in the studio right now at Bravery Studios. Shout out Bravery Studios. And but the point that I bring up is that I'm glad at the end of the day that trajectory happened, because I feel like as my show grew, my platform grew, I grew as a person and as a host. Whereas I feel like if I had everything in place, like perfectly how I wanted to, I probably would have stayed complacent. I wouldn't have grown. I would have stayed close-minded and just think that everything is peaches and cream when I'm not doing anything to further my platform and myself as a human and as a media content creator and a personality.
Well, I can feel that. I feel that because, I mean, that's just my motto. I definitely was not trying to. I see a lot of artists coming up fall to that thinking right there. Man, everything has to be perfect. Everything just shouldn't be shitty. Doesn't have to be perfect, but everything shouldn't be shitty.
Right.
So I'm just like, just go forward, get it out there, get it going, and then you can upgrade. And that's what I've been doing. I'm still tweaking, still trying to learn. I'm still buying equipment. I'm about to turn the fuck up this year. Listen, I ain't
manifest it for 2023,
I'm not
bro.
playing, because it's like before. It's like the thing is, if I'm not thinking about it, then that's one thing. Once I'm on it, it's over. So now I'm thinking, all right, I gotta get these lights, I gotta do this shit. All right, cool. Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, well, one thing is not deniable is your fucking grind, bro. Because you say that you still going through this and going through that, but one thing that cannot be in doubt at all is your grind. Because I can't even keep count of how many videos you already have up there. Whereas there's people out there that are just wondering, like, I can't put out my first one until it comes out exactly the way I want it.
They want it to look like a movie. And I get it. It's definitely you got to be tough mentally.
Yeah.
Because when you do look at it, because a lot, and to reference some of these shows, some of these shows, people aren't really used to being on camera. So, and then a lot of them, they might look at my presentation and see that, I do present to a lot of people out there, so they're worried about. So it can be nerve-wracking even for myself, because when you look at yourself, like, oh man, my sleeve, damn, there's a crumb on my bed. Oh, and
everything that you're saying, bro, is exactly in sync with how I feel, man. Because and it's funny because when I first started the show, it was audio only. It was just audio only. I didn't do video yet, and so there's part of me that still misses the audio only aspect, because I didn't have to worry about like how my appearance and everything. I was just focused on the show and focused on the guests. That's it. But now I gotta worry about all these things.
You have to. You don't have to be. You don't have to be model. You don't have to be a model. But and I don't even mean for no. I don't even really mean for us. I don't mean for. I mean like I said, because all my shows are all my shows are guest based. So sometimes they might not be ready for the camera or just be comfortable. Sometimes they're really not giving you nothing. So, but it's definitely been a good ride so far, and I'm trying to definitely upgrade. Definitely, but I've never been a wait till it's perfect type of guy.
Yeah, well, you're gonna get that, man. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like the trajectory that you're on is kind of like how I am on, still in a similar way. And I'm feeling confident in my platform, and I'm confident in my journey. So I pretty much can say the same for you as well, man.
Thanks, man, for real.
You're welcome. Now I want to get into these shows that you have on YouTube.
Let's do it.
I want to start off with You Ask Me.
If you ask me, that's my baby right there.
Yeah,
that's what set off the channel.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about these. We're gonna talk about a little bit about these shows and just kind of like give like a little breakdown, a little summary, and then afterwards we'll let everybody else, check it out on To Go Get a TV on YouTube. All right. So what can you? How did you? Well, first of all, how did you come up with the idea for If You Ask Me?
Well, I was thinking, what can I do, to contribute to the culture, since I have all this information, all this rap I've talked about, listened to all this music, and I spent a lot of my years debating with a lot of people from different places, different backgrounds, all of that. So I figured, I'm like, okay, there's no show like that where people are actually debating music like it's a sports desk.
It kind of like First Take or something.
Yeah, it's like it's a sports take. I definitely got it from shows like that, and I'm like, but I'm like, how can I make it like? Because people were absolutely talking about new music though. So I'm like, it's not gonna really be different if I'm just. So I made it like, we talked about music from the late '80s to like 2016, artists like that, and even the artists from that time that are currently making new music. We could talk about that, but yeah, just different topics, albums, verses, collabs, just who had the best single, stuff like that, living legends. So I have 2 guests on each show, and they just vary each episode.
Has it ever gotten to a point where the debate has actually got heated? Because I think that one of the negative connotations about debates is that you're trying to change somebody's mind, and it's never going to work because like everybody's strong-hearted, and we form our own opinions, and tensions can get high.
Yeah, so I have a few clips like that, but fortunately I feel like I do a good job of setting the vibe and also not making it like in a straight attack. A debate, it definitely could get heavy, and there are times we're off camera, we are there. Shit is shut down already and we still there at it. So that's more so happens more often than on camera. But yeah, it's gonna get intense, I'm sure, when it builds. But yeah, I try to put the right people together. And it's interesting, usually I learn a lot of things. Sometimes we do it to get a point of view, and sometimes it's more of a conversational piece. It's not always like a debate.
Right.
So yeah.
Next one we have on deck is, ironically, On Deck with Deme, a show featuring hip-hop industry interviews. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory, but,
Yes.
I guess maybe elaborate on it a little bit more.
So honestly, what I really wanted to do, since I love music so much and love artists so much, I really wanted to just do interviews, right? But everybody does interviews. So what I really wanted to do, I was like, I wish I could interview artists about particular albums in their catalogs and just interview them specifically about that. But I'm like, realistically, there's no way to just jump into that out of the blue. That's not gonna work. People, you gotta have some type of swag or vibe or whatever. So I'm like, all right, just let me do interviews. Let me just show New York love. And I'm living in New York as New York artists. Who can I reach out to? Wanted to reach out to Fred the Godson, start off with him. We were in talks.
R.I.P.
Yeah, unfortunately he passed, right around that time when we were talking, R.I.P. to Fred. But then I was like, what, yeah, let me just let me interview artists that because I'm tired of niggas saying that New York don't got no artists or there's no new nice rappers. So I'm like, let me just highlight who out here.
Yeah, but you know what it is also, man? I feel like when you go somewhere like Chicago or you go somewhere like Atlanta or Miami, like the music scene over there is already huge, and even especially California. But a big thing that I feel like they all do, which apparently New York doesn't do, is collaborate and support and promote and so on and so forth. It's always a competition because New York and basically to an extent New Jersey is always such in a competitive mind state. It's almost like we don't want to work together and we're always out to prove to each other that I'm better than you and so on and so forth. So I think that actually could be detrimental to the state of hip hop in New York specifically.
Right. I think radio does stop supporting New York, and I just think New York culture stopped being praised and respected. So that also made it difficult too, because artists do collab, and there's the people are collabing right now, but they still only play like Fivio and Little TJ, and no knock to them, they rep in the city.
Of course, yeah.
But and just all around the game too, they just act like there's no talent. There's a lot of talent. A lot of good music out
here. It goes
here.
unnoticed, man.
That's what. So that's what made me like. Oh, and then it just grew. I interviewed Mickey Fax, and then I got
shout out Mickey Fax.
Yeah, salute to him. He set it off. I appreciate that.
I appreciate the one that you did with Rashid Chappelle.
Rashid Chappelle, salute that I got Jersey in the building.
This is a certified hood classic.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, man, but that's the one that I really appreciate, and I think that was actually the common denominator as to how it got me to notice you and your work and so on and so forth. Because I've been a fan of Rashid for quite some time now.
Nice, yeah. Salute to Rashid, that's my guy. Well, you'll be happy to hear that I have another segment coming out with him. Listen up about the Portrait of. So we doing like an album, little mesh thing. So.
Looking forward to that one.
Yeah, it'll be out soon.
Now this one, I'm actually really I actually like all of them, to be honest with you. But this one in particular, this one in particular, I'm really feeling. The third one on the list is Digging with Deme. Sorry.
Digging with Deme.
Digging with Deme. It's a hip hop vinyl show. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, but coming from the era that we do, vinyls were everything. They were the thing, and I love the fact that they pretty much made a comeback nowadays. But I love the concept of how you go about it. So kind of elaborate to my audience about how you go about it with Digging with Deme.
Well, I needed another show that that just is just not all the way out, same shit all over. So the first two is kind of like some type of little big heavy flow with a lot of people doing that. So I I saw, like you said, vinyl's making a comeback, big vinyl community. My pops was in the vinyl. Bam, I'm like, okay, how can I make it interesting to just showing vinyl, because a lot of people do that. So I figured, I'm in the loop. I talk to a lot of DJs, a lot of collectors, a lot of people, and I figured, how can I make it a nice way? And I came up with the 5. First 3 is just 3 they want to just talk about, maybe present. The 4th one is like what I call a show-off piece, where, you flexing on other collectors. They'll just look at it like, oh, okay, I see you. That type of vibe, I don't get it. So like a show-off piece. And then the 5th is a prized possession, which whatever they feel is a prized possession. So,
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's a fun show.
Now, I haven't been able to catch up on all of your shows because
it's tough. I know. I always say that.
Yeah. But I will say this though, and I don't know if you've already done this, but seeing the fact that you already mentioned that your father was a DJ, if by any chance there was an episode out there, or it hasn't happened yet, where you have your father with his record collection.
I have him on an episode.
Aha. Okay.
Yes,
So I just haven't found it yet. It's out there though.
It's out there. I have him on an episode, and I do have a picture with him with a lot of his records. He set up his own thing with a vision he had. His face is not on it, but it's dope. He has all his crates, and I post that often. Matter of fact, now that you reminded me, I'll try to post it this week.
Okay, all right. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
The show is out there. It's episode 7. Dig it with Deme.
There you go. Now the next one we got up is, ironically, who's next up? An indie hip hop cipher and interview show. I mean, again, this sounds pretty self-explanatory, but again, you're just knocking out these topics and these shows and so on and so forth, man. What was the concept behind that one?
Same thing. I was tired of people acting like New York ain't no new dope MCs, and overall that there weren't any dope MCs and people who were serious about their artistry and really respecting the culture. So I figured I don't just want to do a cipher though. A lot of people do that. That shit is all over. No diss. It's just I wanted to come up with something that's different. Right. And the reason that my show could at least have
to stand out in some way, shape, or form.
In some form. So it's not nothing new, but what I did is just, we do a quick cipher. We do like a speed interview. We do a speed interview, usually like maybe 4 or 5 questions, quick answers. I mesh videos and background shit during the interview. And so it's really artists that are really working. You can't just come and bust a freestyle. Right. This is artists that are really doing shows, active on social media, putting out albums consistently, putting out music videos, networking, collabing. Right. So you're not just coming up in there and spitting the freestyle.
Right. Now, as a podcaster myself, I take pride in doing my research and actually let it be known that I take my shit seriously and letting my people know, especially the people that come on to my show, that I really care about what they do, and I want to show that same respect and do my homework and so on and so forth. And then you come across that as well as an interview as well when you're doing Who's Next Up. How's your process when you're doing your research and so on and so forth, especially when it's coming from an artist who may be up and coming but they don't have a lot of music in the arsenal, or they're not doing their bios properly, or their social media games all fucked up? How do you go about it as a person?
That's a great question. It is long and grooming, and it definitely could be tedious. And that's what they don't understand too, because I was just explaining this on another interview, to mesh a perfect scene from one of their videos in the interview, to mesh a perfect scene from their video, I have to watch that. I have to watch the video, watch the interview, and see all right, that's a good time to jump in, clip it in. So it does take a lot of work, and like you said, sometimes they don't really have a lot to work with. And but I try to make it spicy as it can, and it's usually all top tier workers and brands.
Yeah, ever since I started the show, one of the things that's actually been interesting, to say the least, is first off, when I first started the show, I was always constantly looking for people to come on my show, and I like, whether it be comedians, artists, actors, or even just my friends that I feel like I have something to bring to the table. And now it's gone up to a point where now word of mouth has got out there, and now people are reaching out to me to be on my show, and I appreciate it. But it's also kind of made my job a little bit tougher, because I have a shitload of artists, because I've had a bunch of artists come on my show, and I love their music and I want to support them in any way they can. And then I have friends of theirs or others, just basically word of mouth of artists trying to reach out to me, and then they say they want to come on my show. And I take pride in only putting good, authentic music out there. I don't want no bullshit, to put it lightly. So sometimes I come across some of these artists and, they got their social media game on smash and, they have they got a good persona, they got the swag and everything, but the music is just trash. And then it puts me in an awkward position where I kind of have to say no, but I have to do it for the integrity of the show. And I feel like that's some of the trials and tribulations, for lack of a better term, that you got to go through as well.
Yes, absolutely. I haven't reached the point where I have to do something yet, so I'm sure that's when it really gets bad. But yeah, I'm not just trying to just work with anyone, but I'm not going to enforce my specific particular taste. What I have to do, though, is like you said, it has to have some type of integrity and it just has to be something that I respect and enjoy to a certain degree. It's like I don't have to love it, but it can't just be like the total opposite of, it's like you said, it just can't be trash. I can't do that. But in the end, I still support it. But yeah, certain artists where I haven't gotten to that point where I've met a lot. I've had to tell a lot of people they don't have enough work. Like it doesn't make any sense. You don't have enough work.
And how do they take it? Because one thing that we know about artists is that they can be sensitive and their egos can get easily fractured. Because in their minds, they're already a superstar and they've been built up for so long how much they're going to blow up and everything. And then once that humbling experience, a la you and me, come along, they don't know how to handle it, or they'll try to be like, they're trying to threaten us, God forbid,
Yeah, the thing is, what I have to admit so far is the ones with the biggest ego are the ones that are in the indie community, the guys that are already in the industry to a certain extent now, that are making a living off it and still trying to get to like the B level type of thing and A level, superstar. They're usually cool for the most part, but a lot of people got this ego, and what I do have to work on, I guess, as far as because they do get upset. Some people take it, some people understand. I guess I can work on my delivery a little bit, and it's not like I'll be barking, but at the same time, I didn't go to school for this shit. I'm a regular hip-hop fan, regular dude, grew up in the slum. I'm from fucking Brooklyn and Queens, so I'm talking to man, I'm not never disrespectful, but I'm direct, and it's like, yo, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and sometimes it could be the flip side, meaning that there could be somebody that I think is extremely talented, and they actually have great music, and I enjoy listening to their music. But then when it comes down to actually coming on their platform, they're just a fucking bore. Or they don't want to be there, or they like perk up. Show some kind of personality.
Can't do it no more. I will no longer do that as well. I'm not dragging anyone, because it's like, unfortunately, well, it depends on your perspective, but social media and presence is part of the game. Especially if you're gonna be a direct artist. Like we're not artists. We still have to have a certain presence. If you're gonna be an artist, you're gonna have to go to spots. You're gonna have to look like you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to perform.
I personally take it as a sign of disrespect, because I'm allowing you to come on my platform, and I told you how much I'm a fan of what they're doing, and so on and so forth. And this is how you repay me?
So that's a tough thing, dude. That's why I do have so many shows, because to let, and I have to tell people sometimes too, like, this is just for I enjoy supporting that community, but I'm not the indie guy. I'm definitely trying to build a network, to go get a TV network. I'm trying to build that hip hop media consisting of different things, doing the writing as well. I do collaborations with other sites. I do promotions, booking. So it's like,
Yeah. And then the next one we have up is Listen Up.
Listen Up.
It is an album listening and promo show. That is pretty dope, man. I love the fact how, like, it seems like all of these shows could be all in one show at all, but like, because they all seem to be interconnected, whatever. But you know how to spread it out and sprawl and just like continue to put your name out there, and I think that's brilliant marketing, actually. But talk to me about Listen Up.
Yeah, I really enjoy Listen Up too. I think that's a dope concept. What it is, like you said, it's an album or promo show. What it is, when someone is dropping, I tell them just pull up whatever style they want. If they want to do it one-on-one, it's pause. If they want to listen to the music, I take 5 songs. We talk about them specifically, so it's not like an interview. It's specifically about the project. We chop it up about those 5 songs. It's not necessarily the best. It's not necessarily my favorites. It can be a variation of all of that. We play we play a sample, we chop it up, we listen to it, we vibe out. Some people, we have a whole event, we have people there, we have a little drinks, a little smoke, make it like an actual listening party. chop it up real good. You know, I do my thing with the questions and the swag, and it's like a thing. Like, but yeah, it's more promo, man. It's really, that's all I'm really trying to do is promote these artists, this dope music, and you know, create content as well. But it's really promotion. What I'm trying to do is just, I'm just not a big platform yet.
Right.
You know, but yeah, I'm trying to make a network. Salute to all the artists that came on Listen Up. It's taking off crazy, and I really need to get that one in order, because that's the one that's really difficult to get. The audio.
Oh yeah, with the licensing and shit like that.
Well, no, that I don't even know how that's gonna work. Once I really take off, I might have to, especially when it's the biggest artist, I'm gonna have to flip it as far as actually playing the music. But no, I mean, as far as the audio, the angles, I always have some type of issue because I can't get everything right yet. So, but yeah, with that, yeah, we will. Let's see, I'm doing it guerrilla style right now. But yeah, I enjoy that one too.
Yeah. Now I enjoyed it too, man. So, but yeah, check it out. Where can they find? Plug the YouTube channel real quick.
The Go Get a TV. Everything just, I'm Googleable under that. Or you know, the Go Get a TV, and it'll come up right there. You dig?
Yeah. So besides the Go Getter TV, do you have any other passion projects that you have in the horizon? Like maybe that's kind of like crossed your mind, but you haven't really put the pen to paper yet, so to speak. Like, do you ever think about like any production companies? Do you ever think about, you know, managing, or is there anything out there that you want to do outside of just the Go Getter TV?
Well, the Go Get It TV is the Go Get It TV Productions, LLC. So that is a production company. So I'm producing my own shit.
Okay.
So I don't really consider myself like a podcast. I consider myself like it's a production company. And I've worked on other people's projects and helped them, but I find that is time consuming. But yeah, I do consulting work. So if people do want to collab, I've collabed with people. I do like album, not listeners, but I definitely do curations with artists. You know, we sit through what tracks they want to put on their album. So I definitely have a lot of other works besides, because I don't really consider myself a YouTuber.
Right.
It's like I do the YouTube heavy because it's a nice resume, you know, and it is a platform that's heavy right now. But I actually, you know, do on site business, on hand business with people. So I do provide a service outside of just making the content, you know.
What would you say so far has been your proudest accomplishment?
And I'm doing the writing as well. So
okay, there you
go. Yeah. What's my proudest? Sometimes I don't know. It's a lot. I'm surprised myself because none of this is anything that I ever planned for or even was looking to growing up, or even when I was a younger man. Like none of this was really a thought. So I'm just proud that I've been persistent, and because I've had a lot of trials. People just look at the outcome, you know, and it sounds redundant and it sounds what they say cliche, but it's real. It's like I've been through a lot of shit that we all have. It's been the fucking pandemic and all of that, but even prior to that, it's difficult to just keep it going. So I'm proud that I'm looking back and like, wow, I'm still putting out content. I've grown. There were times I wanted to just give up, and still always think like that. Every times I want to tap out. Sometimes I get so super fucking frustrated.
Yeah.
So I'm just proud of that. And, you know, I'm just proud I was actually able to make it something, turn it into an idea, into something.
Yeah, no, and you know, kudos to you for that, man, because, you know, like I said already, earlier in the show, I was talking about like how everybody wants to do something. They want to make their mark in their world and so on and so forth. And, you know, chances are that, you know, you're probably not going to, at least not into the level that, you know, you think that you're going to.
Right.
But as long as at the end of the day, passion is everything, man. Because I'll tell you right now, before I had this podcast, I went through a really dark period in my life where I felt like, you know, I tried to do this, I tried to do that, and none of it was working out. And then I you know, we were just talking about how there's been moments where you just were frustrated and you wanted to give up. There was a point in my life where I did give up. And I thought to myself, you know what, maybe I'm just not meant to be anything special. Maybe I'm not supposed to be like creative or anything like that. I'm just, you know, I was born on this world just to be a good little soldier, go to work, do my thing, and then just, you know, raise a family if it ever happens, and so on and so forth. And after all of that was gone, it was like a huge depression just caved into me, and I just didn't know where to go from there. But at the same time, I feel like I wouldn't take it back, because it was probably that motivation that I needed in order to do something like this. And you know, finally I realized that I got to do things for me instead of for others. And
absolutely.
Yeah, and you know, I'll even been transparent with you and everybody else. Like, I've been doing this for almost 2 years. I haven't made one single solitary dollar off it. But you know what? I didn't get into it for the reasons of that. I didn't get into monetary. It would be nice. It would be cool. I appreciate it. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to let that consume me from my passion, because I feel like if that was a true factor into why I wanted to do this, I don't think I would have been 70 episodes deep in already.
Nice. That's not easy at all.
No. And, you know, shout out to my mix, who's a really good friend of mine. You know, shout out to my mix. She's a really good friend of mine and also a fellow podcaster. She made a good point about, like, you know, she's putting all her time and effort and money into something that she's really passionate about. It's like, well, at least it's doing this instead of having like a $300 a week coke habit.
Just, you know, it's not really constructive. It's not really building nothing or even giving you any type of pleasure. So it's like, yeah, you go.
Yeah, the moral of the story is just do what you love, find what you love, and just do it, and knock that shit out of the park. Don't think about monetary reasons. Don't think about people's, you know, perceptions. Don't think about their, you know, their approval, so on and so forth.
Definitely not their approval.
The only approval that matters at the end of the day is the person in the mirror.
Yeah, what I do gotta say real quick, though, I have to say it. You know what really always jumps into my mind when I start thinking like that, right? Because I remember. Salute to one of my ex-girlfriends a long time ago when I was in my early 20s. And you know, I was the go-getter back then. Like, this is nothing new. That's how I spoke. That's how I carried myself, you know. So I was talking that talk. I took a beating. I was done.
Yeah.
And I was talking that talk, like, man, I'm tapping out. And you know you're done like that when you're talking to your girl that.
Because there's an intimacy thing there, absolutely.
Because you're not gonna never say that to her.
No, you're not.
So you know so I'm done. I'm like, yeah, man. This shit, like you say, I'm like, man, this shit ain't working now. I'm just gonna have to do something. And I'm not talking about, yeah, it's over. But I'm like more like, yo, I'm gonna just have to do something else and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah. She's like, but then when you quit, then what? I'm like, what you mean? She's like, all right, you quit, and then what?
Dose of reality right there.
It's gonna get better. I'm like, oh shit. So even from all the way back then, every time I say that to her, I'm like, man, I'm gonna get out. But then I'm like, then what? Like,
man, shout out to her exes, man, because they made us better, for better or worse.
Yeah, no, she was a good woman. I mean, definitely salute her. But yeah, a lot of life lessons as well. You gotta be persistent and you gotta be steadfast and mentally strong as well. Don't seek other people's approval.
Right. And most importantly, don't forget where you came from.
Don't forget where you came from. I mean, whatever higher power you believe in, whatever force you believe in, stick to that.
Yeah. If you don't know where you're from, you don't know where you're going.
Fact,
absolutely. Hey, man, well, we'll just keep it short and sweet, man. I really appreciate you coming out here. This has been an honor. I've been following your content for quite some time, and I'm thankful that you've been a fan of mine as well. Before I let you go, though, I just got one more question that I ask everybody that comes on the show. So, just to end things on a positive note, have a little fun with it. I don't know how much of a movie guy you are, but, you know, just for shits and giggles, whatever. So the question that I want to ask you that I ask everybody at the end of my show, if they were to make a movie on your life, which actor would you like to see portray your character?
Yo, because he said I look like everybody.
Well, you know, they don't have to look like you, sound like you. It's just somebody that you admire and you feel that they could portray your character to the best of their ability. No right or wrong answer.
D-Ray.
D-Ray Davis?
D-Ray Davis.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. That's the first one. Nobody said that on the show yet.
Yeah, because I'm kind of like that whole, or like he's not an actor. Like I'm not an actor because I don't have those. When he's serious, that's how I'm serious. So,
or maybe you have a little bit of that dickhead sense of humor every now and then.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what I mean. That his whole, we kind of like a similar type of swagger guy, you know. So I would like him to play it. If he was in my movie, that'd be dope.
Okay, all right. I like it. Like I said, nobody said that on the show, so you got that.
See, always with the original thoughts, you dig?
Yep, appreciate it, man. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this episode of First Class, Second Place. I want to thank my guest, Deme D, for coming through. Appreciate it.
No doubt, man.
Yeah, it's anybody else you want to give a shout out to before I close out?
Mr. Everywhere, you never there. This is the Go Getter TV. I definitely want to salute a lot of my, salute all the cameramen I work with, the editors. Salute to the guy Cheese. You know they mad out here, my guy. Yo, we killing them.
Right.
You know, New York City too, Brooklyn, Queens. We out here.
Yeah. And where can they find you on social media?
Just like I said, everything under the Go Getter TV, or you could Google Deme D. I'm Googleable now. I'm in the system. There's just no way I won't come up. So
Deme
DEME space D,
There you go.
and then the Go Getter TV, DAGOGETATV.
All right, love it, love it. And ladies and gentlemen, you can find me at JasonEnrique _, on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube at Jason Enrique, and don't forget to follow the First Class Second Place podcast page on Instagram as well. This has been the First Class Second Place podcast. We out.